It's fine. Okay,
Same.
we're live. I want to start.
No, we're not. Are we? That didn't get in, did it?
I hope it
I
did.
hope so. I hope so.
If it did
That
get in, it's getting out pretty quick.
I can tell you outright the difference.
say
If
Marco
it got
again.
in, it's getting out. All
Zach,
right.
say Marco again in your accent.
That-
Say what?
Marco.
Marco.
oh my
Oh,
god. Okay,
Hold.
amazing.
More character development for Marco.
we need to. Hi everybody. Welcome to the third
Hello.
episode of the Cast on Titan.
Yay.
Hooray.
Stellar's not happy.
Oh, Stiller. It's fine. Okay. Dang it. Let's just start with. Man, this is a really big chapter. I really want to start with everyone's first impressions of the chapter.
Yeah, this was a huge chapter, so we do need to start small and just gather impressions. Just take baby steps with this chapter because there was a lot going on.
All right. So, I don't want to go first. I'm a little scattered brain right now. Besides, I might go on forever.
So let me go first then, since I'm the oddball out of this group, I believe, and I'm the only one here who actually really didn't like this chapter. I
Well,
had a
according to you,
negative impression of this chapter. That is my impression of the chapter, is that it was not cool.
Stiller, you haven't liked any chapter in the last 6 months, so
I mean, if I go back to some of the earlier 50s, 51, 52, 53, some of those were okay. Like they didn't really, I wouldn't call them favorite chapters of mine, and I certainly wouldn't consider them in voting for some of the best chapters out there. But I don't hate them like I really didn't like this chapter.
Oh, you hated this chapter?
I really didn't like this chapter at all.
because he hates anyone with the name Ackerman.
Maybe. That's
Maybe.
my impression, though.
So,
If you want to
what about you,
say whoever.
Scotty? Did you like the chapter?
I like the chapter. I read it again a couple times, and it grew on me a little bit. But I think my first read through I was a little confused, and I was kind of with Stiller that it was like, I don't know really what happened, and I'm not really too keen on it. But then I reread it, and I was like, there's actually a lot of character development with like Hanji and Levi, of course, and I feel like some of the events that happened were really important. But I really do wish that they would progress with the plot a little bit faster. Overall, I think it was a pretty good chapter.
Okay, that's kind of funny because I feel like, if anything, the plot is progressing relatively fast now because you see, basically a lot of events are starting to come together and they're putting their moves in place, like how they, at the end of the chapter, we cut straight from their hideout to the place where they're supposed to transfer Eren to the front, the first squad. So lots of things that people are calling it, the suppression squad, the control squad. But anyway, I really liked this chapter. So I'm kind of the opposite of Stiller here. Is I really liked a lot
We're
of the
gonna
stuff
fight.
that came out.
Oh,
Yeah.
you got fangirl.
It's
Just a
sure.
heads
Maybe
up to
it's because
everybody.
I'm just a fangirl of Levi. Maybe it's that, but mainly I think I just really like the story. I really like the direction that Isayama is taking it, and I'm getting kind of defensive about how people are saying that it's not
Mm,
good, that it's been dragging for the past 6 months,
mhm.
and I'm just like, no, I like where it's going. I like what he's doing with these characters and what he's bringing to the table. And why can't people just get it? You know?
Stay tuned, everybody. We're
Why
gonna
can't you
fight.
appreciate this art?
The
we're
art's
gonna
good. I
we're
agree
gonna
with that.
fight.
Well,
Now, Zach, give us your impression.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I thought this chapter was pretty good. Definitely massive developments with shipping got a little cut down in terms of relationships that are possible, right, Sarah?
Yeah.
First off, we lost some big characters. We lost the whole Rice, or um,
Yeah, Rice.
No, it
not the
wasn't
Rice.
Rice. It was the Reeves
The
Company.
Reeve Company. Thank you.
Oh, you're
The
right.
Reeves
You're right.
Company.
Sorry.
We lost all of them except the son who we just met, and now we know that there is a bunch of Ackermans running around.
That's a whole different topic to talk about.
Yeah. And then of course we also find out that they've got anti-personnel 3D maneuver gear, which I just love the idea of.
That
I
creeps
didn't
me
know if
out.
that was just gear that was just 3D maneuver gear that was just used for anti-human suppression, or is it like specifically made for anti-human?
If they give it a specific name like that, it's got to be something special. Otherwise, they just call it 3DMG.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think it's modified maneuver gear.
Yeah, maybe sharp. Nah, not sharper blades. Maybe I don't know. There's no real way to tell.
Well, we'll
Some
have
different
to
folks,
see.
some different folks on the subreddit have quoted some of the different translations and talked about how the terminology for that phrase is so. I don't know if it was hard to decipher or if it just had different meanings, but a lot of different scans and a lot of different groups had a hard time actually putting the phrase to that. You
Yeah.
know, so it's kind
Um,
of hard to really define what that might even be.
I think it was only that one initial bad translation that Stiller and I read that
Man, I hated that.
that called it the anti 3D maneuver gear mechanisms. I know most of the other ones, and including Crunchyroll, just call anti-personnel vertical maneuvering equipment or 3D maneuver gear or whatever. Oh, actually, have anti-personnel vertical maneuvering equipment ready on the road there. That almost sounds like it's a machine that stands there, kind of like the cannons they fired at
Or
Annie.
it could be implying that they're picking them up from the road. It's like, make
Possibly.
sure our equipment is ready for us to pick up on the road because they're
I
leaving on the road.
Yeah.
I
Right.
still really like getting the robots idea where the anti personnel gear or whatever is just a bunch of wires they hang up in the trees that they fly into.
That's
God, can you
so
imagine that being
creepy.
animated? Just you
Ugh.
see leg out just flying, and all of a sudden, 50 different
It
pieces
would
of
be
leg out.
so great, and I would love it so much.
Man, Stiller,
Oh my
you're
gosh.
way too morbid.
I agree with Stiller on this. It would be amazing.
You
That
see,
would be cool. I do agree too. To get back to the Reeb section, since we harped on that for a little bit, that's part of it that I didn't like about this chapter. It was so foreshadowed that they were gonna die. I immediately knew once Levi was like, "No, wait, you guys have to stay here and listen because you're very vital." I'm like, "Well, now you're dead. Goodbye. That was your swan
I
song."
I
Like,
didn't get that vibe at all. I didn't
on top of that, did
out of left
anybody
field.
actually care about that guy?
no, no, I didn't care
No,
at all.
I
no
was
one
I'm
really
pretty
interested to
cared.
see
sure.
where they were going with him because he went from greedy scumbag to all of a sudden valuable asset,
And then he died.
and
And
then he died.
No tears were shed over
yeah.
that.
Also, they said like, oh, all like what was it? Three of the Reapsmen were killed. Like, who are the other two people? We never met them. Like, they were just
Right.
out of.
Well,
Oh, so they died.
weren't they the newly gay man and the other guy?
Oh, well, if he's dead, that's good.
Is the other guy the son?
No.
No, no, no.
They didn't know about the son.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
That's why they said, "Oh, this is our first day here," to emphasize the military police won't know that he's here, and he'll
Convenient
be able to get
reason.
away
Exactly.
and say, "My dad's dead, and Levi's Mikasa's related thing."
Precisely.
I think the more important thing is to tell everyone, Eren is captured again. Ah,
Oh no.
God, I'm really getting tired of it. I'm just like, dang it, Eren.
Yeah, Aaron
You know
doesn't
what?
tighten out as much as he just gets kidnapped, and he's just the
Now we're
fetch.
having role reversal here because I actually really like that. I like the idea that the main character is off fucking around off of the main thing here, and we're talking about the other characters instead.
Quite literally chomping at the bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, because
Well,
now we get to give time to the side characters who people care more about.
Yeah, like
Honestly.
Annie. Oh wait.
Oh wait. Ha
oh.
ha ha.
Oh yeah,
Fucking
that was a
stupid.
question that we had. It's like, where is the story going to turn its focus to now? Because the current arc is essentially over. The waiting around arc is now over.
The
Because
waiting that is the best description for that.
the
Pretty
waiting
much
around
is.
arc.
The arc where we sit around and talk about things.
Well, I'd be kind
Mm.
of wary on saying that it's over because I remember last chapter there was something about how like the blurb said next time there will be action,
There was
and
action. Someone
well,
died.
Someone died.
a fat guy
So
I,
got his neck.
I don't consider
Someone
that action.
died and
I
someone
But
don't.
Stiller,
moved.
you don't even consider that action. As soon as we read it, you're like, oh man, still no death.
yeah.
Well,
Well, what I
unless you count the
actually
three
meant was
men that were brutally
significant death. I
murdered.
didn't consider
Okay.
that to be a significant death because no one cared.
Yeah,
So
not at all.
No one cares.
Basically, what Stiller said was, I don't care unless it's Levi that dies, and then I will be happy.
Okay, I'm about to explode now.
I'm not even gonna correct that. That's okay.
That's pretty much what you said.
Everyone's crazy, by the way. Like
So
Everyone is crazy.
Hanji is just off the
Hanji's always
walls.
crazy.
Don't
There's
get me
nothing.
started
No,
on Hanji,
she
okay?
is getting progressively worse though. She
As
is
far as I'm concerned, this is just a psychotic break. This is not Hanji. Um,
It's totally
cockroach
Hanji.
incident never
She's
happened.
done this before.
She's freaked
every
out
episode she has a
before.
psychotic break, or every chapter. Yeah,
She
I
This
is
is
mean,
normal.
yeah, psycho, but I don't like it doesn't. It kind of seems out of character for her just to be snapping and.
Out of character?
I
What?
don't
That pretty much is
not.
Look, I don't debate you on whether Shorty McGee was in character when he, I don't
Who's
know,
Shorty
bumped into Connie.
I
Good
thought
one, man.
That took you a while, Stiller.
That wasn't a good name for him.
Shorty.
Yeah, that was very clever, Zach. Very clever.
No, I'm not bashing her for kind of freaking out in this chapter. I'm really interested in how stressed she apparently was for the past two chapters. Well, actually, ever since Nick died,
Yeah, it's
Hansi
kind
has
of
been
interesting.
really like, I just can't handle things right now.
Interesting to see how deeply she actually cared for him when before he was just like, oh, he's just a pastor. He's going to tell us what's going on with the wall.
So to take a step back, I don't think the right way to classify this is to say that there was an entire arc devoted to sitting around doing nothing. I think that's only the first part to this larger arc,
It's the
which is
first arc to the
revolved,
arc.
which it's the first part of an arc, which is going to revolve around this political intrigue and this revolution talk and all this stuff going on with, oh, you're related to him and you're related to him and you're a shifter and you're a fucking magician and you can time travel and
So
Oh,
I can't believe that you are looking down on this because what I see it as they are looking at who the characters are. We are finding out who the characters are. These are times when we get to find out who the characters are so that we care about them when things all go to shit and Titans come in and start killing people again.
Yeah. It's
one of
not
the
Attack on
one of
Titan if someone you care about doesn't get brutally murdered.
one of the original things that people loved about this show was how realistic some of the characters were, like Jean and Connie. And now we've gotten to the point where every single character has to have some sort of big revelation about them.
What? That's
Like,
not true.
What's
oh,
Sasha's revelation? What's
I don't
John's
know. We're
revelation?
gonna get to it, I guess, eventually, because
What's
now
Levi? Oh, I
Mikasa.
suppose Levi has
What's
one.
wrong with
You,
making characters
I
significant?
mean, don't get me started on Mikasa here, but we've got these characters who have had no real character development to them, and we're actually giving them some significant upgrades in the plot now just because they're related to somebody else, or oh they were a shifter the whole time, or oh they're involved. This one's the queen, you
So
know.
what you're
I
saying is you
don't
don't think Annie should have been a shifter. She just should have just been a background character that died.
know.
That's not what I. Well, that could have worked.
Annie was a character that had a big revelation about her, and you're complaining about characters getting big revelations. I don't know where you're
I'm
coming from.
complaining about this world being small.
It
This
is
is a
a small
small world.
world.
that,
It's kind
yeah.
of a 200-kilometer circle where all of humanity lives.
If humanity
Pretty
has
much.
100,000 people in it, this show is playing it off like every single one of them has something special about them right
There's no
now.
way it's 100,000. Isn't it a
Again,
million? Or
That
was
was
it?
an example. Okay, that
Oh,
was
let's see.
a ephemeral number.
I don't understand why you think it's wrong to make characters significant. I
Like,
mean,
you don't need to give them some sort of special superpower, or you don't need to give them some sort of super upgrade to make them good characters.
Let's count the
who said
characters that have
that's
had
making them good
superpowers so far.
characters? It's just
Reiner, Berthold, Annie, Ymir, Aaron. Maybe
Yeah,
Mikasa and Levi. That is
maybe.
7 superpowers out of
That's
the 100,000 people in the walls.
and
Or
how
wait.
many out of those 100,000 are actually in the plot? How many of them are in the cast?
I just think that you seem to think that the powers in this universe are cheapening the characters, and I don't understand that angle because I feel like
We're
it's
getting
just
there.
adding like intrigue or it's just telling us what is going on and how the world works. I mean,
It's it's an an- it's
I want to know
This is
why
just
they work.
this is a general anime cliche though, where you progress the plot along far enough into to the point where you think somebody's down and out, and oh, all of a sudden they have a new superpower they throw out.
I
They
don't
just
feel
turn it
that.
around on a whim. It's like a Dragon Ball Z
I
thing
don't
where oh,
feel
how
like
is
it's going
Goku gonna
that
defeat the
direction.
guy? Oh, he's
Uh,
gonna get a new power.
dude,
No, I don't feel like
I
it's
hate it.
going that direction. I don't think it's going that direction because
I hope it's not.
it's just
I don't think we're there,
I see
but I
too
think
much.
this chapter is bringing it closer and closer to it.
I just
No.
Like we're not there yet though.
I don't feel
wait,
like
wait.
it's
How did this chapter bring it close to it? What did this chapter reveal
Levi
pertaining?
has a super secret backstory.
because this
He's
is
Because
actually
of
an
the
Ackerman.
revelation, yeah,
That
because of the
that's not a.
revelation
what
and the relation to
How is that a
Mikasa.
power? That's not
It's
And
power.
what
it's
That's
a
Stiller's
not a.
trying to get at is this, it's not just about power, it's just about every character has to have significance, and he doesn't like that.
Well, Leave already had significance, so there's no reason
I think
not to
that
give.
Levi has
it's
more
not just
significance
Levi.
now though.
It's actually more about Mikasa than it is about Levi.
Everything's about
Why
hating
is everything
Mikasa.
about Mikasa? You
If
just
you could spin it
And
into
then
hating Mikasa, you
and
will
then
hate
we
Mikasa.
also
what even
didn't
Aquaman
someone
is.
ask a question about that? Don't we have a question addressed someone like that where someone's talking about how big the family tree is now, where we have to actually list all the people who are in that
I just
family
want to
now?
talk about the
That is
clan of
so
Ackerman.
unnecessary.
Someone wanted to know.
Talk about the ever-expanding Ackerman family. That's the only thing that talks about family in any way.
But like,
Thought
I
I saw
don't
something
even
else
know.
there.
I really want to stop and say, guys, we don't know if it's family just because it's a common surname and three people have it, and we even had a little glimpse of what it means. Like that, there's some sort of clan. There possibly might be a clan about this. If you look back into a previous flashback when Mikasa was little and her mom branded her arm, so maybe it's more like a clan, and that's where the surname comes from. It's not actual family, and there isn't any kind of blood relationships happening. We don't know enough yet.
Well,
So
if you
you
go
don't have to
back
go
and look at one of
crazy.
my first comments, one of my first comments was actually fighting this and saying that they're not related and how I hope they're not related. So, yeah, I mean, I hope they're not related because I think it's better for the story if they're not related at
I
all.
feel
Well,
like
I honestly think that Iosama's been planning Levi being related to Mikasa from the beginning. I mean, he looks like slightly Asian for a reason. He's got the eyes, he's kind of paler.
Am I the only one who had the impression that Levi was French?
No, everybody
What?
has that impression. Personally, I would like to think he's German, but
well,
everybody
yeah,
thinks that Levi's French for some stupid.
Levi is a German name, but
I
I
think
mean,
this contributes to what you said earlier, Sarah, about how we don't have enough information to go off of this. But
Yes, we don't.
this is just like what I said about the mind wipe theory, in that we have enough here that I have enough information here that I can already go ahead and say that I'm not going to like the direction that's going in.
all I have to say is that like I don't think it would be written in that like this reveal, because if you take out the Ackerman revelation of Levi's last name, there's no real like besides Reeves' man being killed.
Mm.
Like okay, so clearly the Levi revelation was supposed to be significant. So the last name obviously isn't just like oh no Ackerman. That's just yeah everyone has that name here. Like that would be so pointless for that to be a revelation then. And I feel like there has to be, whether it's blood related or clan related, I feel like there has to be a relation between Mikasa and then Levi now.
Yeah.
And it's
Although,
actually funny to think about the chapter looking back at it now, because you would look at the panels and you would look at the reactions on the characters' faces. And if you didn't, like, before the translations came out, you thought there was going to be a revelation there when they were talking to Historia, because everyone had a shocked face when Levi was telling them about the thing, and they didn't know that yet. That was where we could have, like, people thought there was a revelation, but it turned out it was later in the chapter, not there.
something that people aren't mentioning is that we do have a third Ackerman. Abraham
Well, that's a
is that what he's been
nickname.
called?
Yeah, that's a
Why is he
nickname
being called that? Why is he being called that?
because he looks like Abraham Lincoln. Duh, and he's
I
Because
super
someone
freaking
on
tall.
4chan said his name was Abraham, probably.
Okay. 4chan needs to stop. First they had Monkey Trouble, which is okay. Then they had Leg Out, which I love.
What's
But now it's
that?
Abraham. Nifa has been called Leg Out because she looks like Armin.
Well,
Okay.
she's gonna die soon,
Arm in, leg
so
out.
we're not gonna have to worry about her for too much longer because she's been introduced
Oh
so that
yeah.
she can die.
I feel like a lot of characters are that.
The
Man,
morph
Like
syndrome.
they're cannon fodder pretty much.
we're just so defeatist about this. Someone wanted us to
It's
joke
not even
around
defeatist. This
about
is
kill
this is a
list. Who's gonna die
this is a
next?
cliche. Let's move on to another question.
I have some notes here. I really like the Levi spy theory that was being thrown around after this
Okay.
chapter.
Get up to, yeah.
It was that there was like considering there was a last shot of Levi in the woods, and considering just how shifty he behaved in this chapter overall, and that they were so effectively caught, like their plan fell right through the door, right through the floor. It's like, oh well, that didn't work. And so it's like someone could have told them, and it's like it has to have been Levi, but I'm not buying it personally. I mean, yeah, call me a biased fangirl, but I refuse to think that, considering what I've seen him do and how he's acted for the entire story, I just don't believe that he's a spy.
There's no way he's a
I just,
spy.
Personally, I thought that shot of him in the tree was Isama's way of saying Levi heard everything. He knows what just happened.
no.
Um,
It
what?
was it was in a montage of shots. It was just showing where
Yeah,
people
on the
were.
last page, he's in a tree in a forest, identical to the one that the other Ackerman was in.
We couldn't tell
Yeah, but
exactly.
it looks like it. And then there's also the fact that Abraham brings up, I taught
he
Levi a
taught
lot of
Levi.
things.
Yeah.
He's my pride and joy.
But I feel like that's more.
But it's my fault this is happening, which implies he's not on my side.
Yeah.
And why would he why would he lie to a man that he just slit the throat of, basically?
I just think that the introduction of Captain Ackerman, Ackerman, as people are going to call him, is such an obvious plug-in for an arch nemesis. Here's our new big bad, and personally, I'm really entertained at the thought of that, especially since he is very memorable looking. I really like how most of the characters look in the story. A lot of them are pretty memorable looking, and again, I think this Captain Ackerman is another example of that. So rather than going for the Levi spy, I'm seeing more of a kind of the cliche where the old evil master comes back and it's going to be end up in a showdown between the evil master and the good princess who learned from the evil master kind of thing going on.
Are you calling Levi a princess?
Apprentice, okay?
Am I
Yeah,
the
I
only
heard
person?
Princess too.
Sorry.
So you're not alone on that.
I
Am I
meant
the
the
only
princess.
person who hates the inclusion of Abe? I don't like it at all. I feel like there are so many already unanswered questions, so many things to get to. There
That
are
we
so
just keep piling them on.
and like before we move one step forward, oh, finally we're gonna move after like the past three chapters. It's been like, oh, his story's important. Oh, okay, I got that. Then two more chapters, she's important. Like, all right, let's move forward. Oh, now Abe's involved. Oh, now like what? Four more chapters about Abe. Like, let's just keep going. Come
No,
on.
I feel like
Let's not forget, we
Scotty,
also have to investigate the family ties too now.
what?
Yeah. So now we're gonna go on like five arcs, and then we're gonna get to the wall.
just
What
because.
manga have you been reading? Because Attack on Titan
I
has been
mean,
about unanswered questions from the beginning.
we're
Episode
exaggerating
1,
a little bit.
basement.
Yeah.
We're exaggerating a little bit, but I do agree with Scotty.
Still, all the same, I feel like they are answering questions and then using that to ask more. But at
Yeah.
least some are answered. Like we didn't know what
What?
Levi's last name was. Now we do. And
Oh
now
my
we
Well,
god,
know who this
that
character
wasn't a
is.
major question.
that is
Let me
such a
tell you, that
non.
made such a difference.
That
Like, I
is such
felt
a.
so relieved knowing that now.
I know.
But
Yeah.
just we didn't know who. You know what? The first impression we had of the military police was that they're pretty incompetent. I mean, sending the Reeves Company of all things.
Well, there's a difference between the regular military police and the people they're up against right now.
Yeah, so that they're introducing the people we're up against right now. That's important. That's just adding more to the story. See,
Yeah.
It's
You
added
want to have
more
an actual
questions.
build-up and not just have a Reiner Berthold. We're the military police. We're killing you now. Done.
What?
What?
wait, what
Well,
did
I
Reiner,
don't know
Reiner
what that
Bolt have to
means.
do with the military police?
we're the
What?
Colossal and Armored Titans.
Okay.
We're fighting you now. Done. Whereas here we're actually getting introduced to the bad guys slowly,
But
and
it's already more
detailed.
complicated than that. They already introduced
Nothing
the.
can be less complicated than the way the Armored and Colossal Titans were revealed, okay?
No, but that was
Nothing.
That
good.
was so
That
simple.
yeah, yeah, but that was supposed to be. I think for
Hey,
like
guess
shock
what? We're
value.
the biggest
That's
enemies of the series, and we're
And
putting this in half a frame in
and the funny
bottom.
thing about that is that that's one of the most memorable and one of the most favorite things that people love about the show is when that happened.
yeah.
Let's keep that in mind.
We already have villains. We have the Central Military Police. We have the royal family, the real Fritz royal family. And now, oh, here's like I guess this guy's an offshoot of either the royal family and like their secret service or the anti-human forces. It's like, yeah, we don't need a third. No, actually a fourth, because then we have the Titans, the Shifters. So now this is the fourth villain we're introducing. And it's just like
I
we
thought
don't
that the
need.
Royal Family Military Police First Squad are all more like one enemy, and they're more like branches of all one
Yeah,
enemy.
their humanity.
Scotty, I think I'm in your boat where we're not we don't hate everything that's happening right now. We're just a little sick of the lack of progression. Am I right
Right.
about that?
Yeah, totally.
Like it seems like we've been dragging our heels a little bit.
A little
I'm
bit.
sure that
That's all it is. Like we'll complain about it and we'll exaggerate about how bad it is, obviously for the sake of humor.
Yeah.
But all in all, it's just not. It's not big for us like it is for everyone else. Like Levi fans and Hanji fans, you guys got a lot out of this chapter.
Uh,
yes, we did.
uh,
Me and
uh,
Scott didn't get that much out of this chapter though,
Yeah,
because
no
it
Connie
was
love. No Connie love.
well, not
no
just
Hanji
because
love either. I did not like the developments in this chapter.
not just because our favorite characters weren't in it, but just because it was kind of slow for us. It was kind of the progression is just lacking.
So,
We're just going a little slow. We're going a little off the beaten path. It's a little weird. We don't.
We're
It's
waiting.
not like we're saying we hate the show now, but it's just a little weird. We have some concerns.
I can
A
see
couple.
where you're coming from there. But can't we at least? I want to talk about Levi now. I want to talk about his speech and
Too
what
late.
happened
Wait.
between him and Historia.
We're waiting. Argument comes later.
Well, I can say a little bit about it here.
Yeah, we can get into it a little bit.
Yeah, it's like first of all, someone else brought up another question was when Levi said, "Oh, I forgot to tell my team that Historia was queen." Everyone's like, "Yeah, really? Did you forget, or did you purposefully withhold?" I am absolutely 100% sure that he did withhold that information and wanted to make a scene, because Levi, this is not the first time that Levi has made a demonstration in front of everyone to get a point across and achieve a goal. So
And every time he does it, he beats the living crap out of
he
someone.
didn't beat the living crap out of her. He didn't even hold her throat. He just held her up by her shirts.
I
He
gotta
didn't. He didn't beat the miner that bad.
He
only
didn't beat
smack her
her.
around, toss her to the ground, really
She was
force.
able to walk at least.
Yeah, you know.
He scared
I'll,
her.
I'll tell you though. Usually throughout the show, whenever Levi goes on his rants, I usually love them. This one though, I despised only because, and for the main reason, this is all I'll say about it, is that he was just so nonsensical at the point where at first he's like, Historia, do you want to go through with this plan? And then before she can talk, he's like, it doesn't matter. We're gonna force you anyway. And then he goes on this long rant about he's like an aberrant or whatever. And then he goes like, oh, by the way, now you get to choose. You actually have a choice now. It's like, what? Wait, like
Wait,
you
no.
just said she didn't have a choice.
He was saying you have a choice to fight us or accept the role. That
But
was
either
his
way, you're
fear.
accepting the role.
No, but yeah, and then later on, he goes, it's really ultimately up to you.
To fight and be a baby about this and try to get away from your destiny or accept it.
Yeah, but at first that wasn't even a choice. He says we will fight you into
Destiny.
submission. So that wasn't even a choice to begin with.
I
That was
think
a choice that he just later implemented
I
for
think
no
in
reason.
no, I think he always said she had a choice. He said, remember when he picked her up, he's all like, "Oh, you don't want to do it? Then run. Try to defeat us. Try to do it." And
Yeah,
and
and
then
that was saying
and
like
then he
And
went
then
and
he
that.
then he went
says,
on about it. I think that he was a bit redundant, but when people make speeches, they get redundant. They want to hammer the point home. And then
I thought it was
again,
hilarious.
he does say, yeah, sure, fight me, run, but he also says, we will do everything and anything that we can to get you and make you do what we
Exactly.
want, where we want, when we want, how we want. And I really didn't like that because it didn't seem like the Survey Corps to me. It seemed more like a military police thing. Like, you're under our control, you're doing what we want now.
On one hand, I thought it was hilarious, but on the other hand, I kind of agreed with Scotty, where I was just like, this is a little too much. Like, we don't need to go this far.
that's just what
And,
John said.
and that just kind of makes me think about what we're going to talk about later with Levi. But he's like as many times as he's done this before, he's
Once.
never. I don't think he's been wrong. Like, I don't think what he's doing is wrong because I think he's efficient at getting things done. On the other hand,
Hitler was
that
efficient
makes
too.
that makes him a prick.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we all agree that Levi is an absolute asshole? Yes. I
Yes.
am never going to say
Yep.
that he's a nice guy and people should stop wailing on him because I agree. Absolutely.
Wish you'd say that about me.
But I just want to talk about if you are not going to like Levi and you're going to say that he's a bad character and a bad person because he is an asshole. If you say that,
No, that's not where we're going.
Yeah,
okay.
I like Levi as a character. I'm just saying he's an
But
asshole.
this is us
But
briefly touching that topic right now,
Yeah.
so we should move on to the next
Teaser
question.
for the next episode.
Maybe.
cheese. Wait, can I go on
I like
to
cheese.
Yeah,
my
Scotty, go ahead.
favorite?
Go ahead,
Now,
Scotty.
this is like an overarching theme, which I've noticed. I'm sure everyone else has noticed. It's one of my favorites, and it has to do with the Sonus and Ralph situation, and how throughout these couple chapters they've been alluding to the fact, and actually I think it was Sonus who said this outright, that like you, the Survey Corps, are no different than the military police in trying to staunch like any technology and technological growth. Like you can say, oh, you're torturing us for all the right reasons. But we made that same justification when we were still like putting out new technologies and new information. And now we see through like slowly but surely the dehumanization of the Survey Corps and their tactics to get the truth and to get their motives and to get what they want. and they're forming, like Zach alluded to before, more and more into what the military police have been. And now we see this almost become full circle with Levi now beating well, not beating the crap out of it, but like
Almost.
really hammering down on Krista, like just saying, or sorry, excuse me, saying like your choice doesn't matter. Your free will as a human, which by the way is what we were originally trying to fight to preserve, free will in humans, you no longer have any free will because we're trying to save free will. It's like you're being completely counterintuitive to your own motives now. You are trying to take away other people's free will in order to get victory so you can give other people free will. They're missing the entire point and their
Well,
objective.
it's
Okay,
kind of like
no,
the sacrifice of one can save them anything.
I have a
I
lot
don't.
to contest about with what Scotty just said. Uh, especially okay.
Surprise, surprise.
Honest.
I just interpreted the speech totally differently from that. If you want to talk about it, because okay. First of all, the fact that Levi was saying, or what you believe that he was saying, that you have no free will, that we're fighting for free will. Okay, wait. What they're fighting, guys, can we please remember their goal? Is what they're trying to do is they're trying to change the system to support their group so that they can block the hole in Wall Maria. All they want to do is change the system so that it stops stabbing them in the back so that they can move forward to
Sarah, I
do
wasn't
that.
talking about their short-term goals. I was talking about the long-term goals,
Well, their
which was to get
long-term
rid of the
goals
He was
Titans.
is
he was
to
talking about their moral corruption.
the moral
Yeah.
corruption. Well, I don't think that Levi has ever said that he wanted to be a morally, in fact, he says very exactly in that speech is he doesn't mind being the lunatic who will massacre anything in his path to get what he wants, just to save humanity from titans. That's what he wants to
But
do. Is they want to save humanity from titans. Whether they're
Exactly.
morally good people or not has never really been, no one has ever said they wanted to be a morally good person. In fact, Armin has, said in the last chapter, we're not good people anymore. They've observed that they've been getting darker and darker. I agree with Scotty there. But I don't think that anyone ever said we want to be morally good people in the first place.
What I didn't. I never said morally good people.
Except
I
for
said just
Erwin,
have
of course.
free. I just said free will because when you get down to it, you could say, yeah, all they want to do is kill the Titans. But why do they want to kill the Titans? Because the Titans are keeping the people confined in the walls, and they can't do what they want. Hence their free will.
I
I'm
don't
just
think
taking it as
that's a good connection. Free will versus no, it just they want to be able to get outside the walls. That doesn't mean that they that means that they don't want to have any responsibility. I thought that's what this was
what?
talking about.
No. Free will doesn't mean no responsibility.
Well, that's what Levi is telling Historia to accept, that she needs to accept her responsibility, not accept that she doesn't have free will.
But
Yes.
she doesn't have any free will though if she has no choice. If you can't choose what you want to do, you don't have free will. So he took that away from her by saying, "You can try to escape. Well, we're gonna catch you again. We're gonna make you do what we want you to do." So now she's not doing what she wants to do.
He
She
can
was coerced
he's saying
into.
that she can always try to fight, just know that she will always be resisted. And
She'll always lose. Yeah.
no, he
So
didn't
there's.
Yes, she
say
will
she'd
always lose.
always lose. He said
Well,
that she would always fight you. We
if
would fight to
he
get what we want from you.
didn't,
He
it's
was saying it
Levi.
with
He
the
knows he's
context.
going to win. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said, "Hey, come at me."
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
Because
Levi
it's
has
like,
always been
"Come at me.
sarcastic.
I will beat the shit out of you, and then I will stick a crown on your head and put you on the throne, and you will smile, and you will be pretty, and you will like it with a black eye."
Exactly.
Well,
The
then you could just
black-eyed
say that the whole
queen.
speech, that the whole bringing the choice thing in, is just him being particularly scary and mean, and not like contradicting himself.
He
Uh,
wasn't contradicting himself.
We turned this back
I
into a
don't think
Levi
so.
argument, didn't we?
I
I just
actually want to go back to one of the first things Scotty said when he brought that argument up,
okay. What?
because this entire conversation we just had, we had a pretty good foreshadowing for this coming with the shifters, because this is pretty much this is exactly what the shifters were predicting.
What the
What?
shifters were predicting?
How so?
Yeah, this is totally what they were predicting. This is what Ymir was saying when she told whoever, I don't know if it was Aaron or Berthold or somebody, but she said, "You have no idea what hell is what hell is like about to become in these walls." The shifters knew this was coming somehow, and
I
I have
don't
no
remember
idea
that.
how, because this is exactly the type of thing that Annie was talking about with Marlowe, and I don't like. This isn't the time for that, so I'll move on beyond that. But the shifters, totally, the entire thing about the shifters before this There was a couple of themes in there that foreshadowed this coming.
Yeah, so they knew about the corruption of the system and all the argument or struggle for free will or not, or do you have a, or what, who has responsibility over what, and who is corrupt or what. They they definitely had a stance on that. They knew something about what it was like inside the walls and what the system was like in there, and they had a say on it, which is strange.
Yeah, which
I
makes you
mean,
think.
yeah, it's like certainly you know that they were in there, they were inside the walls growing up. Maybe it just means that they were really observant, you know.
Scotty talked about repeating themes. We have a lot of repeating themes right now between the Scouting Legion versus the military police, just because a lot of the things that are being brought up right now were brought up when we were examining the shifters, like what the shifters are fighting for, what they could be after, what they think of humanity, what their morals could be. This is the type of thing that we were talking about with them. This is how their foreshadowing, I think, is coming to play.
Okay.
That was the only observation I had. I wasn't really going to support either side of that argument, but I mean, I kind of had the similar thoughts that Scotty did. I just kind of took it on a different route.
What Levi's speech was, I think I'll save that for the Aberrant podcast to decide what exactly was going on there. Let's see if we can look at some other questions and topics to
Right,
move
let's move on
forward.
This
to
is like the third time you've read my mind and done exactly what I was going to do. How do you think that Reeves Jr. will react to his father's death? Will he fall into despair or help mobilize the Reeves Company and the Trost District?
I could not care less. Could
I kind of agree here. I think the only importance
Wow.
of showing that he had seen it was that, okay, now our main characters who we really do care about have someone to question about this later.
All right.
right.
That's
Next
funny that
question. Sorry,
that's
Sir Maverick.
I can't believe that was unanimous. I can't believe that was unanimous. I thought somebody was going to stick up for that guy.
I care about every character, okay?
You don't
We've
care.
had a lot of Erwin, Levi, and Hanji focus these past few chapters. Hanji's mini arc has been effectively concluded, and Erwin is behind the lines of action. Aside from Levi, which characters do you think will be focused upon now?
Oh yeah, it was a question about focus. Uh, well, I would really like to know where Aaron and Historia end up, considering that they just got captured. But that might be better to leave to mystery, and we'll get
The
back to them
focus
later.
the focus is not going to leave Levi right now unless we're going over to see what Erwin's doing. Those two are going to be maintaining the focus throughout the rest of this arc, I believe. But what
I
I would like to see
Annie.
some of the other characters that we haven't seen a lot of yet in this arc, like John and Sasha. I would
I
like to get some of them more in there.
I would not assume that just because we got a teaser and like, oh my gosh, a big reveal about who Levi is, I would not assume that means that we're immediately going to go into an arc about Levi and Captain Ackerman. Okay, I am not going
Well,
to
I
I
mean,
assume
I
that.
didn't
absolutely
agree.
think we are.
I didn't mean to
Now,
imply that we were going to shift off of the focus we were on and go into talking about their backstory. I just mean we're going to stick with them and move forward. Like he's still leading the charge here. We're still going to follow him through whatever's the next step of this plan.
Well, that's
Like
true.
we don't have to go into their backstory like that. It's going to stick with him at least.
But then
I found it
again,
really.
he's actually cut off in the middle of what you think is going to be a conversation and then switched to somewhere else, which is why we have that whole extra bonus page of Historia's conversation with Aaron. We almost had that in an earlier chapter, but then it just stopped and then kept going. This
What was
I
cut off here?
Yeah. Well, the bonus pages with Krista where we see her talking to Aaron and
Yes,
freaking out
but
about
what was cut
Yumiya.
off in this chapter?
Well, we didn't
No,
have
she was talking
anything.
about the old
I'm talking
chapter.
about an old chapter.
Oh, okay. You're not
It's
saying
that we
something else.
almost had that. We almost had the bonus conversation where it should have been in the story, but he didn't. He cut it off and then gave us as a bonus at the end of this chapter. So he cuts off. He gives us flashbacks. He gives us different pieces of the story out of order. So that's why I say that I wouldn't assume that we're going to, go where we think we're going, even at the end
In
of the
both
chapter.
in both cases for those extra release pages he's done now, they've both served as good character development for some of the characters we don't have a lot for. And I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you didn't like character development, Stiller.
Are you kidding me? Do you know who you're talking to right now?
I'm not sure it's the same person that was in Skype call a half hour ago. No, given that
I
you went on your massive rant about how no one's allowed to have
calm
character
down.
development.
That's not
Calm.
what I was saying at
That's not.
all.
Yeah, he wasn't. But
Okay.
I find it really interesting how it almost seems unanimous that you guys don't think that the story is going to continue to stay on focus with Aaron in the story, because I feel like
Well, no,
that's what's gonna
what I
happen.
meant to say was that we're sticking to that where Levi and his king is going to be chasing them, but we're still going to be following it from the perspective of Levi. That's what I meant.
Right, because I don't think that this is going to deter or move the story or the plot away from its original intent at all. And
Right.
like I feel like instead of the only thing that's going to change is instead of Reeves Corp taking Aaron and Astoria to Rod Fritz, whatever, the main guy of the Fritz royal family.
Rod
Rod,
Rice.
oh, Rod
Rice.
Rice, Rice, sorry.
Because they're trying to get to
Translations,
Rice.
translations. Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, he's talking about the Fritz, the fake king, as opposed to Rice, the.
Right.
Oh,
You
right.
know,
Yeah.
So they're gonna take him and Historia to Rod Rice, and I feel like now all that's gonna happen is that uh, Ackerman or Ackerman, whatever, is going to take them to the same exact location, because that was still the original intent anyway, you know.
yeah,
So
but
I don't see why
But
they would
you know
take him
what?
away.
But the whole thing with having the Reeves Corporation there was that they were going to secretly tail the military police to Rod Rice's location because they don't know where that location is.
The problem now, guys, like, see, this is why I believe that this chapter is good and the developments that happened are good. It's because it promises conflict. If it had gone to plan and the company, hadn't got found out and a Ackerman hadn't come in and shown, oh, I know, see right through your plan and I'm going to mess it up, we wouldn't have any action later. We would just, still be tailing and still be walking around following everything secretly. Now, now there is going to be a fight. Now they're going to have problems. I mean, I get excited about problems in stories, obviously. I get really bored with stories that don't have any conflict. So that's why I really like where this chapter went and what it brought up and why Ackerman is now, he's an antagonist we have to take seriously now. We couldn't take the Reeves company seriously. Let's just get them on our side. Yeah, that was easy. Okay, great. Everything's going smoothly. No, now it's not. So that's good. I
The
don't.
I
problem we have is that we've been talking about getting into conflict for like the last 4 chapters.
100% agree. 100% agree. I feel like I agree with you, Sarah, that problems are very integral to the plot and development of a story. But we've got so many problems that
So
could
many
with
mysteries.
they could hold us over alone for the entire, like, I feel like they could harp on every single one for like 5 chapters, and that would bring us to like whatever arcs that were originally supposed to be 20, whatever. We could hold over on that with just the problems right now. Yet, oh, now we have to add on 10 more problems for every 2 we resolve. We're never gonna get done. It's never
Hey,
gonna
we
get done.
still need to establish more about Mr. Rice too.
Honestly, we need to know about everyone.
At this point, we need to just call Scooby Doo and the Mystery Machine to help us out here.
Armin's fourth cousin, who's he? We'll find out next chapter.
He's actually Shaggy? It turns out. Oh, that would be the worst. All right, so that any other thoughts on that before we move on to the next question?
Uh, no, I think we're good.
Go ahead.
I wanted to bring up a question someone asked about Historia. Someone was really worried about what was going to happen to Historia and even suggested that she was suicidal. It's like, oh, what's going to happen with Historia? Is she going to be able to handle all of it?
I love this question coming off of talking about how much of an asshole Levi is. Because the obvious response to this now is, of course she's suicidal every time she has to listen to fucking Levi talk.
All right.
Damn.
I'll read the
Damn.
actual question out here. What do you
Shots
think will
fired.
happen to Historia, assuming she gets to the throne? She's clearly not prepared for this role. She is young, clearly dealing with depression, suicidal thoughts, and probably PTSD.
I was about to say, after Levi, she'll be dealing with
Between her mother
PTSD.
being murdered in front of her, Levi being particularly bastardly this chapter, and being kidnapped, how could she not? She is in no mental state to be responsible for the whole human race.
Well, I will agree with that. She's
I will
not
agree with.
really in the state to be responsible for the whole human race.
Oh, but she doesn't
The,
have a choice. She has to do it
the
anyway.
thing
She has to
is,
deal with it.
The thing is, even if Historia does become the queen, nothing's gonna change. The puppet is gonna change. That's it. The Survey
Exactly.
Corps is gonna be controlling Historia.
Yeah.
Historia's not doing jack shit. She's gonna sit there and look pretty, just like Fritz.
If a good
100% agree
guy
with
like
Zach.
you, if a good guy like you took over, I think that would be the end of us all.
Oh,
I'm flattered that you called good, but probably not the best
that
Did
was
you
a
not get the
quote.
reference I just
That was
made?
a
No,
quote
I
from
didn't. No.
Annie. Annie said
Oh,
that.
wait. Oh yeah, that's right. I need to reread.
I love it. I thought that was very clever, Stiller. But
Mm.
so it's just,
Bravo.
although I might say that I might say that she is right now, she's certainly not prepared to be queen or have responsibility, as people say. Dude, she can totally grow and get the balls. I believe the story will get
Get the
get the woman parts to do it. she would she can she can
You
do
need a
this.
biology
She can do
lesson
it
on how
I
to
think
eventually.
yeah,
grow.
yeah, you're
derailed.
derailed.
She could do this eventually. I think that the story can help her do it. I don't think that this issue with her not being ready, and yet it just happens anyway, and then that conversation between her and Levi doesn't matter. No, it's gonna matter. We're going to see her get development. I
You
think the
know,
story
I think I will back you on that because I do believe she has grown in character development by a nautical mile since what chapter, I don't know, 50. Like she before chapter 50, who was she?
yeah,
How far has she come in
I
these
honestly
past
didn't know who she was. I had to rewatch
X
the
amount of
animated
chapters?
notice her.
She has come a long way.
everybody knows who she is now. She's
And,
obviously
like
very successful.
she, I don't know. I think she is going to take the crown for being the character who came out of nowhere and all of a sudden turned into somebody super important.
Yeah, or like, she could become pretty badass. That's what I'm looking forward to.
So I will agree. I think she can grow out of this. I think she can grow past having to deal with Levi. I think dealing with Levi is going to help her. It'll be an experience that she can learn from.
See?
I
So
feel
like
like
Levi's bastardliness is actually going to be good for her. No. I'm
I
not
still
going
That's,
to
want to
go
that
know.
doesn't that doesn't make him good though.
I still want to know where dude 111222 got clearly dealing with depression and suicidal thoughts from.
Yeah,
no,
where the
she
heck did
she
he
tried
get
to
that?
no, but the suicide, she tried to commit suicide, remember?
No, she did.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure
Yeah.
did.
Wait,
Yeah, she
what?
did. When she was with Ymir in the snow tundra or whatever,
Oh
she
well.
wanted to carry, and then Ymir was like, and she's like, wait, you actually do know that you're gonna die if you do that. And
And you're doing
uh,
it on
yeah,
purpose.
she
Well, that
did it on
was
purpose.
three
So,
plus years ago. We're talking about right now in terms of this chapter. She's trying to kill herself right
Well,
now.
I mean,
No.
she only recently made a huge change in growth anyway. So
yeah.
that 3-year gap really got shortened by the amount of time it took for her to change.
Next question.
Yes, next question.
Well, here's a quick one regarding how Hanji left early on in the chapter to meet Urin. What do you think she's planning on telling him? It's pretty simple. She's telling him what Aaron remembered from the dream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that seemed pretty obvious
Yeah.
that's gonna be a
Which
big deal.
Okay, segue.
That's gonna
segues into the next question. What did the notes Aaron wrote down about Bert and Reiner say? Is it something we've already heard?
Yeah, that was a
no, it's not.
conversation.
It's not something we've already heard.
It's a conversation that they had while they were in the big ass trees that Aaron heard, but because he was barely conscious, he didn't really hear it, and it took him till now to remember it.
You notice they were talking about the super important things that we want to hear, like about monkey trouble and stuff, when he was starting to pass out like that too.
Yeah.
So whatever he told her that she ran off with is going to come back and it's going to be super important. It might even be something that they use to save the day. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's going to be something they come back to absolutely. Is it something
Uh,
we've heard though? I don't think so.
really? Because I
No,
thought.
not in the slightest. Aaron is. We see two shots of Aaron here. One of his eye close up. Or one quick note I'd like to make: the marks under his eye are really similar to the tiny knives Reeves bought to put under the tongue and nails and stuff. I thought that was kind of nice detail. Um, he's got Aaron being carried by Reiner, practically passed out, blood covered in his face. So basically, right after he was pulled out of his Titan form, and then we've got a shot of Aaron closing his eye, and after that, or before that, all we see is Reiner, or not Reiner, Berthold looking at Ymir, and Ymir looking back at Berthold while Berthold's mouth is open. That's all we see.
I
If
Nothing like this
anybody
has
if
occurred.
anybody was going to say something important, it was going to be Berthold. Because who's the character that we know the least about from that group?
Berthold.
Yeah.
Well,
Bertolt
or
is a
it could be
mystery.
Ymir.
Speaking of which, what is Armin doing, looking and just facing Aaron while he sleeps? Like, that's kind of
Keeping
creepy.
guard.
Keeping guard, really?
Keeping guard. You could see he's right next to the window holding the gun. Historia was doing the same thing in the last chapter.
Okay, that explains it.
I do like that you brought that up though, because we're on arm and watch right now. Like we have to continuously keep an eye on him from this point to make sure that he's not going crazy.
I read
just
this
hold up the gun.
After
He's going
last
crazy.
chapter?
It's simple as that.
I read
The
this
question
After
is, how
last
far is he
chapter,
going to go?
after last chapter, so many people are like, "Oh man, Armin's getting ready to do a heel turn. It's gonna be nuts." But yeah, like from here on out, we got to keep an eye on him, and we gotta like. And now we're expecting it. Now we're expecting some sort of crazy heel turn from him, and I like. I don't know if he's gonna get any more significant, like real big moments, just because we're gonna be watching him for anything as like any if he slips up, you know.
Next question.
Next question.
Who do you think is on Isayama's kill list for the next few chapters?
Welcome to
Levi.
Attack on Titan.
No, it's Levi has got to be on that kill list. He has to be on that kill list.
Why
After
do you
that
think that?
massive
I no,
revelation,
seriously,
not
Stiller, you have to tell me why do you think that he's on the kill list?
His death flag is riding pretty high right now, just
I
because
I
he's
think
coming off of a revelation, and we're moving towards the end of the story now that we've only got a couple like 20 some odd chapters left. We're moving to the point now where we can kill him if we want to.
I disagree. I think that this revelation pushed the death flag back farther, in fact.
That's exactly what I think. I think that because
That's
we've
fangirl, though.
actually found out
100%.
that there is something more to his story that we don't know about yet, that means that we need to give him more time to tell that
Or
story.
or
Yeah,
we could kill him and tell it post mortem.
That's dumb.
You just
That
want
is the
Levi
dumbest
dead.
thing ever. You
Yo,
are making me
Sarah,
mad.
Sarah,
Sarah.
both of you are going to calm
I
down.
will hate this
Jesus.
manga if it
Oh my
dares.
god.
We can get into this later.
I honestly thought that Levi's death flag was raised a long time ago,
It
and I was
was.
wrong
Yeah,
about
I
it.
agree with that.
When his ankle got broken, I was like, and they were gonna invade where Reeves' men were. I was like, oh man, that is it. He's a goner, and then he wasn't. So I can't really tell when it comes to at least Levi when his death flag is raised. So it could be soon. It could be never. So
It's not that the flag ever comes down. It's
yeah,
just
that's
is
true.
your death flag for him raised? You know what I mean? It's like for you and me, it's been up for a while now.
It has been, but I don't
For
think. I think
those two, they don't even have the damn pole out.
No, it's
they don't.
definitely up. Levi is going to die. I just think that the date of the death has been pushed back a bit.
Jeez. Am I the only one here who doesn't think he's gonna die yet? Like, I don't have
That's
Levi
any.
is going to die.
that's
Armin is going to
that's
die. Erwin is going to die. Hanji is going to die. Annie might die.
Sarah, that's an okay opinion to have. Like we're not criticizing you for having that opinion.
I'm just saying, I'm not. I don't really like having an opinion. Okay, let me get this. Let me get this straight for everybody who's listening. I don't really like trying to think who's gonna die next. I just don't like that angle or look on the show because it's just kind of depressing, and also, what's the point? Exactly,
I
what's the
loved it.
point?
Well, what's the point of theory crafting? We want to guess what he's going to throw at us,
Well, not only
and
that,
and
but
then revel in the fact of how freaking wrong we are when the
it's a
curveball
subjective
comes.
thing because we have different tastes in how we want the story to progress. For us, we like character deaths because we like what character deaths do for a story. For
Oh,
you,
God.
you don't like character deaths because you want to see your characters thrive and you want to see them succeed and you want to see them grow and have closure and all that sorts of crap. That's just not for us.
Which is
Like
not for Attack on
so
Titan.
yeah,
No,
it's like we
no
just have different
closure.
we just have different tastes in that regard. And you know what I meant by no closure. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
Like
know
no
what you mean.
closure for that character, but we can still get closure.
For sure. And in a way, death can be closure.
Yeah, I
So,
can.
but
But I haven't seen a single character death that felt like it was before their story was closed. I feel
That's
like
rough.
the writer,
Hannes.
no, like Petra
Marco.
and the others didn't even have a story
Marco
that was
ain't dead,
opened.
Stiller. Get it in
Marco,
your
but
head.
Marco's
Marco's
dead.
story was
Marco is
closed. Marco's
alive.
story was closed. Marco, oh crap.
What about Hannes? What about Hannes?
You know what
Yes,
wasn't
his
it?
story was
You know what
closed
wasn't
too.
closed?
I don't think his story was. It took
You
me
know
off
what's
guard.
not closed about Hannes? The gaping wound in his stomach.
That's hilarious.
Very
What a
funny.
Good fight.
What about
No,
Mina? How about Mina
Mina
Carolina?
Carolina never had a story.
Yeah,
She
she never.
did.
There,
She did. She had a relationship with Annie.
That's all we
Oh,
know about her, and I
That's
don't even
right.
know where you get that source from. I think it's like from one of the anime background books or something. It's not mentioned
But
in the manga. It's not mentioned in the anime. I wasn't even aware that
but
she
it
was
happens.
named until someone mentioned Mina, and who the hell is Mina? And I Google
It
it.
happens. It absolutely happened.
When?
It
Where?
happened during training. It happened during training in the kitchen in the mess hall.
Yes,
Oh
but
my
where do we
god, that
see
is.
this?
Do we count that as story? Like one time there was a conversation in the mess hall. Now she's a character. It's like I don't consider
She
that.
has a name at least.
We don't
She has
even
a
see
name.
we don't even
Hold on.
hear a conversation between them. We just see lip flap and look in
Although-
general direction. That's
If
what
we
we see,
call
and that
this
is what
by-
we have to go on.
If we call this by Fight Club rules, then everybody's a character because no one gets in.
Yeah.
They die. But we're not going to do that.
I mean, technically, obviously, she's a character, but for me, a character means more than just someone in the story. It's someone who
How did
actually.
this get turned on me? By the way, we're supposed to be
No,
talking
no.
about why Levi is supposed to die.
No,
Number
we're
one,
talking
I'm
about
I
not.
don't
lives
think
in
he's
general.
supposed to die yet.
I'm not turning this on anyone, by the way. I'm just trying to get my definition and my perspective on a character out. I mean, clearly, technically, a character is someone who's in the show or the anime or manga, but a character to me is someone who we get backstory on in development, not one kitchen conversation one time, maybe, maybe not. That's not character to me.
She had a character.
I
Damn it,
guess
she
we might.
lived.
I'm just
I guess
saying.
we might get a bigger conversation in the OVA that came out today that none of us have watched yet.
Oh crap! I
Yeah.
haven't watched it yet.
Don't be
No
expecting
one has. The
anything
Raws
on
aren't
that.
even out yet, Sarah.
Yeah.
Don't feel
Okay.
So I think we're ready. Either we're gonna clarify more on the death flags, like we're gonna talk about more characters, or
Yeah, who else do you guys think is gonna die? Nifa.
Nifa.
Nifa absolutely.
Yeah, I actually think Nifa's gonna
Nifa's
kick
already
it.
dead. Nifa's
There's no
already
question
dead.
about it. Leg out is dead.
She's a zombie right now. She's already dead.
She's already in limbo because there's no way they're going to give her backstory. There's no way they're going to develop that character. She's just not worth it. So
Just
the
like
only.
the sun. The sun's practically worthless at this
Oh,
point
yeah.
too.
What he's probably gonna do is he's gonna either get really close to like where they are, where everyone is, and try to tell them, and then either get killed, or he's gonna tell them, and then just we'll see in like one panel he'll just like die off by one of the assassins or something. Because
Mhm.
there's no
Yeah,
other,
he'll
there's no
be
other
in the
point.
middle of telling them, and then we're like,
That'll be the
I
same
think
deal.
it depends. If I was right, and that shot of Levi was him hearing and seeing what just happened, then Sun's dead without
Yes,
telling
yeah.
them jack shit.
Mhm.
But I mean, and then Levi can do with the information as he chooses. He might keep it secret because he's a spy. He might keep it secret because he's a
Can we
badass.
talk about that? He's
Whatever.
not a spy. He's not a spy.
We already covered
Well,
that.
we covered that. But
Um,
Nifa is gonna
that's
die
but
in the same way.
yeah, Nifa's dead.
She's
Nifa's
gonna
dead.
serve some sort of purpose, and then she's gonna die. That's just. I mean,
So-
we all can see
This-
that coming a
I'm
mile.
pretty sure the consensus is the purpose Nifa is going to serve is to see what this anti 3D maneuver gear is.
Actually, you probably could raise an argument that she might not die just because Rico's still alive.
oh yeah,
But
Rika.
You
But-
guys remember Rico?
I
Yes.
remember Rico,
half, yeah,
kind of.
yeah, like
Well, we've
the same
seen
way I remember
various
that kitchen
named
scene.
characters.
She was
come up.
alive. She did cool things, and then she went away. She didn't die.
Yeah, but Ian didn't survive it.
But Rico survived it.
Hmm.
Let's say we don't know for sure. Well, what about a slew of named characters like Marlowe or Hitch? And inside the walls, they're not dead yet. It's just
Or
because
that
the
the
character.
crazy captain guy that tried to kill
That what's his name? Kits.
My gosh,
I don't
that's
know.
his
I
name?
know the. I
That is
know
the
that.
one name in the series I can never forget. Give me the smallest side character with a name, show me them, and I can name him. But I cannot, for the life of me, remember that guy's name, and it pisses me off.
Any other Death Flag characters? Sasha, Connie, John.
Connie's never gonna die. Calm down. Just don't ever talk about that.
Connie's gonna get eaten by his own mom.
Impossible.
He's
Absolutely
he's
impossible.
he's sitting at about half mast for me because I'm not sure how much longer. Like I don't know if he's gonna make the full run or if he's gonna die soon. I'm not
I
sure.
would
I
say.
have a death in mind for Connie. He's going to try and fight the Beast
Oh yeah.
Titan, and then he's going to die.
Wait, why would he fight the Beast Titan though? Like, what's the relation there?
Because the
He
because
hates
the
the
beast
Beast
type.
Titan.
made my
He
mom a
was
titan.
told
Yeah.
that the Eight was responsible for what happened to his village, and now he's
Yep.
told Aaron, "I hate him. I want to kill him." I'm like, okay, he's gonna fight
When
him.
have we
He's
ever
gonna
heard
die.
that?
It happened in
When
the
have we ever
kitchen
heard
scene.
that?
I could definitely see that. That's
You
far
guys
very
and your
possible.
damn kitchen scene.
Yeah. How did it even get brought up again?
Important
Okay.
things
Here.
happen in the kitchen. Okay.
Here is something, and this is gonna be me completely just ranting. This isn't anything to do with anything. So, but I hate when anybody's like, "Oh, let's make a thread about who's your favorite character," and they name like the fucking kitchen scene characters. Like that's not your favorite character. It's just not. That's not your favorite character. I'm
I
like,
like
that-
Thomas. Thomas is my favorite.
like you're trying to be so hipster. Half the people in those comments are like, I have to look them up. I'm like, that's not. She said like hi in one scene. That's not your favorite character. That's just not your favorite character.
Well, you know the reasoning behind that more often than not is this is a character who could have like contributed so much to the show if they had just gotten some character development.
Oh
Petra.
my
Franz, Hannah,
God.
Mina,
Hannah,
Thomas,
Isn't Hannah still alive? I think
Samuel.
Hannah's
You
still
guys
alive.
remember
Samuel's still
Samuel?
alive.
Is he?
Yeah. He
Samuel's
got
still
a
alive?
3 maneuver gear to the foot, but he's still alive as far as we know.
Well, I mean,
he's dead.
those are the kitchen characters.
No, he's the wall character.
That's gonna be classified as like their own subgroup, the kitchen characters. The ones.
We've got the 104th, we got the Survey Corps, we got the kitchen.
Yeah, we got the kitchen. This
Oh,
this
boy.
is.
Does
I
that
think
wrap
we're
up
gonna.
all the questions we have?
Yes.
I think so. I'm gonna do one last. Well, here's one, but it's not really about this chapter. It's more of how do you think the show will end?
I think we already
And
discussed that,
that's
didn't we?
literally
Like,
In
we
the
went on for like
in
3 minutes for that in the last episode.
It was actually at the end of the first episode we
Oh, first
talked about
episode.
what our ideal endings
Yeah.
were. And that's where Sarah came in earlier talking about how we're all jerk faces for wanting everybody to die.
I need
Did
carnage.
not
I
say
need
that.
Then
every.
the second part to that question was, what's the biggest fucked up plot twist that Isayama will throw at us?
If he goes through with it, mind wipes.
Oh. Yeah, that would suck so bad.
If he goes through with it, mind wipes.
He already
Bark.
has gone through with it, Stiller. It is
He
confirmed.
no, it is not confirmed. You can fuck right off. That is
I think-
not confirmed.
Taking the question a little seriously, I think the most fucked up ending, and I'm taking the term fucked up not in like carnage, but in like the worst ending, would be if it was so like everything was resolved. Like if in the basement the magical cure, and then everybody who was a Titans reverted to humans with like a snap of the fingers, and then like there's peace within the walls and they expand.
I 100%
Yeah,
agree with that.
but this is
That
like
would be the
not
worst.
that. I feel like that's an impossible ending. There's no way it could end like that.
Exactly.
So it
I
shouldn't
know,
even be
but-
considered.
Shows have done that before.
Well, when the
because-
writers change, if the writers change and someone decides,
Well,
I
the
don't
writer
like the
has
direction you
changed.
were taking the story, I'm going to take it
It's
back.
He said
at
he was
this
going to do the
point
mist where everyone dies, and now, oh no, people like characters. I won't kill people.
So the ending right now is totally up in the air, and it could happen. So I
Wow.
agree with Scott.
But the question wasn't what was the worst plausible ending. I was just saying the worst ending in general.
You know what?
What we were still talking about bad plot twists. I would
Yeah.
consider a happy ending like that a bad plot twist.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Oh
exactly.
yes, here is
Here's
a good
another.
question.
Like, did you say that mind wiping was Stiller was saying that? But like, with magical power? Yes.
Magical
Mikasa's a
powers,
magical
time travel.
girl. Quella Magi Mikasa Magica.
I want to take that just a step
On
further.
Titan.
Imagine if everybody forgot everything at the end of the series, just like everybody forgot everything after they entered the walls. It's
I
like nothing.
And then
No,
and then it goes 2,000
2,000
years
years
later,
later.
and it's a shot of standard Tokyo.
you know what? That does kind of make me think of the Mist. Just
Yeah.
the way that that's set up. But the Mist, like if they go that route, the Mist still did it better.
The ending is going to be they're all dying. It's carnage. It's perfect. And then all of a sudden, right when Aaron's about to get eating,
Don't shut up. I know where you're
he
going.
wakes up and he's a normal kid in just a normal place.
Yeah,
That's
I think
bad.
one of those the volume ending
Yeah.
one-shot things that Isayama does. I think one of those was like, and then Aaron woke up, and it was like Mikasa pokes her head in, Aaron, it's time to go to school, or
Yeah, he woke up and looked out the window,
Yeah.
saw his reflection, and realized he was actually Light Yagami the whole time.
I would love that. Death Note, all the Titans.
Okay, so that wraps up
here's-
all our questions.
No, I found one.
Oh, okay.
Is Pixis to be trusted?
Yes, I wanted to. I have that on my notes. Is Pixis to be trusted?
Do you
Yes.
not trust Pixis?
I trust
trust
this,
him.
and I would
trust
be
him.
very sad if it turned out he was a bad guy. I would be okay if that happened, though. If that happened to be a big plot twist and he turned out to be evil. But right now, I really hope it's not.
Yeah. Honestly, all Pixis is doing at this point is saying, I'm neutral. If you win, I win. If you lose, I win. Either way, I'm not doing jack. If you lose, I'm gonna hang you. If you win, I'm gonna ride on your coattails.
That was
Well-
pretty. That was pretty smart of him. I like that. That was
Really
pretty smart.
Yeah.
That was smart of him, but I don't think
The
he's
only value
so
Pixis
Scott
really
Pilgrim.
has in this story is for Pixis.
Oh, come on, he's cool.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
cool,
he's pretty cool.
but I don't know.
I think there's more credit though, a little bit more credit. I honestly do agree though that he's mostly probably good, but to give credit to be devil's advocate to the other side, like he basically without no reservations at the very beginning said, "Oh, Aaron, you're this Titan shifter? Sure, go ahead." With like no reservations, like
Yeah,
he's like,
why
"I
not?
trust you." So it's like it's kind of like, that's a little suspect. He's the only person to act not only like shocked or anything and then go along with it, but just like, "Oh, that's neat. Sure, let's go ahead."
The problem with that is that the alternative, like to not trusting Aaron, to not having him go through with putting the boulder in, is potentially losing another wall.
Right.
So
So
I
I
mean,
want to think about Pixis as a Titan. That would be awesome.
Oh my god.
like
Shifter Pixis.
I
Pixis was
entertain
the Shifter Village general all along.
I entertain the
Possible.
idea that Pixis might be evil, just because right now it makes sense that he would go along with this, and it makes sense that he's on our side, quote unquote. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, for right now, he's on our side. In the future, maybe he could be evil. We don't know
Yeah.
yet, though.
Could be
Pixis
I
is
that
on
would
your
not.
side.
he is the spy, and he's the one who told the first squad about everything, and that's why they were ready.
It
Ugh.
really
So
could
let's add that on top of the ever-growing pile of mysteries that we have.
God, I hope that's not. Oh my god. You know, Abe had a brother,
Next
right?
chapter, Pixis is gonna give us the stink eye, and we're gonna know. We're just gonna know that he's evil, and we're gonna be like, "Oh, what is he up to now?"
Ah, great.
Now we have this asshole to worry about. You know?
Yay! I want more pictures, and that may or may not just be me wanting more pictures.
I think the Pixis is your favorite character. We need to change your avatar.
No, Hush.
You just want to change his avatar.
You know, I'd say I would have gone with Petra as my favorite character, but you know, someone brutally murdered her.
Somebody.
Somebody.
Everybody's looking at you,
Somebody.
Stiller.
Like, I have anything to like? Am I supposed to feel bad about that?
Yes.
You are.
Yes.
I don't. I don't
You're
feel bad
supposed to
about that at
not
all.
like Annie for killing off Petra. Yeah,
Do that
that
again.
wraps up our questions. Thanks everybody for listening. Stay tuned for another aberrant discussion concerning Levi and everything that happened with him in the chapter. Thanks, bye.